Okay guys, let's take another look at some of our strategies for comparing fractions. So we're just trying to figure out which is the bigger fraction, which is the smaller fraction. And I've got a list of strategies here. We're really going to focus on the top 3 strategies in this demonstration, but also I'm going to show you a 4th one, which I think you'll really like, that didn't make this list. So I've got a couple of things to share with you. First one, common denominators. And remember, the denominator is the bottom of the fraction. So when they say common denominator, the denominator is the same. Let's look at comparing some fractions with common denominators. So we're going to focus right here on this first skill, common denominators, first strategy. So notice my fractions have the same number in the bottom, or a common denominator. Our only thing we need to do is look at those numerators. So I've got 1/3 and 2/3. If it's a common denominator, all I need to do is look at the numerator. And this numerator has a 2, which makes it a bigger fraction. So whatever numerator is larger, when you look at the numerators, the larger one is the one you want to pick. So if you have a common denominator, you always pick the bigger numerator. And just to kind of give you a visual of that, I'm going to draw these pizzas. The denominators are 3, so both pizzas are going to be cut into 3 slices. And you have a choice between 1 slice of pizza or 2. And again, to give you that visual, would you rather have 1 out of 3 or 2 out of 3? And once you see the picture, that makes a lot of sense. They're both cut into 3 slices. Would you rather have 1 or 2? I would rather have 2 slices. So if you're comparing fractions with the common denominator, pick the bigger numerator. That's a really nice strategy. How about if you have a common numerator? See, the denominators on these are different, but they have a common numerator. So think of it this way. If I'm having pizza, I'm getting 2 slices no matter what. Would I rather have 2 out of 8 or 2 out of 6? Which one will be the bigger 2 pieces? So let's get a visual with that. So you're only getting 2, and this first pizza I've got to cut into 8s. And I'm only getting 2 slices. There's 1, 2. Pretend they're equal slices. Pretend. This second pizza is cut into 6 pieces because the denominator is in 6. And I still only get 2. But which one has the bigger slices? 6 are bigger. I don't have to cut my pieces as small as I need to make 8 out of that same size pizza. So anytime I see a common numerator, I find the smaller denominator. Because I'm getting 2 slices no matter what, I want 2 bigger slices. And I know that's confusing because it's a smaller number, but in fractions, the smaller the denominator, the bigger the pieces. So strategy number 2 here, if you have common numerators, then you look at the denominators, and you always want to pick the smaller denominator. Let's check this next one out using half as a benchmark. So we're going to look at this next strategy using 1/2. These two don't have common numerators and they don't have common denominators. So you can't use those strategies on these two. But you can think about, is it bigger than half or smaller than half? So let's look at 7/10. Is that bigger than half or smaller? I'm going to make a pizza to the best of my ability that's cut into tenths because tenths is my denominator. And let's see if I can slice that as evenly as I can. Holy mackerel, that last one was bad. Let me try that again. All right, 10 slices in that pizza. and I get to color in 7 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is 7/10 bigger than half? Well, it is, because if I were to cut 10 in half, 5/10 would be exactly half. So 7/10 is bigger than half. Now check out the other one. 1/4. And I'm going to show you with the picture. So I'm going to cut it into 4 equal pieces. I'm going to color in one of them. Is that bigger than half or less than half? Well, that's a lot less than half, because here's half right here. I'd have to color in this whole section. I only colored in part of it. Because I see that 7/10 is bigger than half and 1/4 is smaller than half, then 7/10 must be bigger than 1/4. You can look at the pictures, but you can also compare them to halves. I know that 5/10 is equal to half. In fact, I'm going to write that in there so you can see. I'm going to write in 5/10 is equal to half, and I know that 2/4 is equivalent to half. So I know that 7/10 is bigger than this 5/10, so it must be bigger than 1/4. You can compare fractions by using 1/2, which is a benchmark fraction. These are all great strategies, but I'm going to show you my favorite, and I think you're going to like this one. This one's the easiest, and it works with any fraction you're going to do, and it's called the butterfly method. So if you want to compare 3/4 and 5/6, again, they don't have a common numerator, they don't have a common denominator. I could compare them to half, but this is bigger than half and this is bigger than half, so that makes it kind of hard. But the butterfly method, this works every time. If I take my denominator and my numerator and I multiply them, I just need to know 6 times 3. And 6 times 3 is 18, and I hope you see that I went diagonally. Denominator of one all the way up to the numerator of the other, and I always go up. Start at the bottom and work my way up. I get an 18 here. I'm going to do the same on the other side. The denominator of 1 up to the numerator of the other and multiply. And check this out. Whichever number, whichever fraction, 5, 6, or 3/4, has the bigger number next to it is the bigger fraction. So in this case, 5/6 is bigger because 20 is bigger than 18. Butterfly method works for any fractions, anytime. Check out another one of those because those are super easy. Remember, start at the bottom. I like the colors. Start at the bottom, work your way up to the numerator, and I just have to do 10 times 2 is 20. And then start in the denominator again, work your way up to the numerator. 3 times 6 is 18. Which one's bigger? The 20 is bigger because it's a bigger number. That means 2/3 is bigger than 6/10. And I'm going to do it without all the colors there. I'm just going to draw the arrow. You do 12 times 1 is 12. And on this side, 5 times 3 is 15. And so 3/12 is bigger than 1/5. Butterfly method, simplest way to compare fractions. But all those strategies are great things for you to try.